Okay, welcome everybody. So I'd love to start in child's pose. If child's pose is comfortable for you. If it's not, take any shape that is comfortable for you. We're gonna do a nice grounding, kind of relaxing practice today, which is feel good yoga, but the energy is a little bit different every day. So you're welcome to use props if you want. Sometimes a bolster between the knees is really nice. You can have your knees super wide apart or close together. And again, if you'd rather be laying on your back or your belly or seated or whatever, that's totally fine. Just wherever you feel like you can kind of settle a little bit. And child's pose is a nice one because it has that, it has a calming quality for many of us, partly because it just gently stretches the back, which is an area that when we gently stretch, we can kind of soften a little bit. We can release a bit of stress. And it can feel really nice as well to have your forehead just in contact with something. It could be a prop or your hands. It doesn't necessarily have to be the ground. We're just kind of allowing there to be that little bit of pressure on the forehead, which tends to, again, be soothing. And then just take a little time to be still, to feel, to connect to your breath. So that may or may not be doing a conscious breath like Ujjayi, but just kind of focusing on the breath, letting yourself kind of come home through the breath. And just really starting to kind of sink into the earth. Allow yourself to remember the land that you're on and your relationship with that land. And today that may include that upcoming new moon. So we're just, as we speak, in the day before the new moon, which is absolutely in that new moon cycle. It's usually the 3 days around the new moon. And that's when that energy gets really kind of heavy and quiet. Just let yourself be there if you're there. And you're welcome to stay here, or we'll add a little bit of a side stretch. So you can lift up your hands and walk them over to the right side. And if you're in a shape like seated, you can just do a side bend here, okay? So I'm reaching over to my right side, up on fingertips with the left hand, or palm is fine. I'm just letting that left hip kind of lean back a little bit so you get that lovely stretch along the left side. And then let's do that over to the other side. So just gently walking through center. And when you're ready, going over to the left, reaching out that right hand up on fingertips or palm and letting your right hip kind of lean back away from the hands. And when that feels complete for you, you can come back through center. And let's just take a nice deep breath in the middle just to find that symmetry again. And then I'd love to come from here into a little shoulder chest opening. So you can come up to your knees and walk your elbows forward. If you have a block, you can hold the block in between your palms at its widest edge. You don't necessarily need one. You can just have your palms together or down. And then just walk the knees back, keeping your bum nice and high. I like widening my knees a little bit and then kind of melting the heart back towards the thighs, just so you get that nice little bit of a chest stretch. Chin or forehead could be down. And then from here, let's come to our bellies. So if you're not coming to your belly today, you can sit up or stand on your knees if you like, and you'll just do some movements with your shoulders and upper back. Okay. So if you're laying on your belly, let's take some cobras. And we can start with this cactus shape here. And if you're seated, you can take a cactus shape with your arms. So if you're down, pressing the tops of your feet down, lifting the kneecaps, grounding your hips. And then as you inhale, just rising up gently, pressing into the hands. And as you exhale, coming down. And if you're seated here, you could inhale to reach your arms up. And as you exhale, just take a nice cactus shape to open your chest. Okay, so just taking a few of those with your breath wherever you are today. Maybe one more time, and if it feels good, you could hold the shape. And then gently release, just come down to your belly or relax your arms if you're in seated. You might want to give your bum a little wiggle or your shoulders a little roll. Okay, and we'll take one more here. So you could do this on your belly or seated. It's kind of the same thing in terms of the shoulder opening. So you can take your hands around behind your back and interlace the fingers, or you could hold a strap if that's more comfortable for you, or for some people, just hooking the thumbs is perfect. If you're on your belly, really engage the legs, press the pubic bone down, lift the chest as much as you're comfortable, and then pull the fist towards the back of the mat. And it's the same shape if you're seated, it's just chest to the sky, fist to the earth, just taking that nice opening for your chest. And then when you're ready, just relax, come back to center. Again, you could wiggle your bum or roll your shoulders or just be still. And then let's find our way into hands and knees. This could also be done in a seat if you're not comfortable on hands and knees. So I'm spreading my fingers really nice and wide under my shoulders. It could be done on the fists as well if your wrists are not too happy today. And we're just gonna move. So inhaling into a little back bend shape and exhaling to curl under. So we're not necessarily doing any specific breath like Ujjayi right now. You could be, but I'd love for you just to think about having a really nice, deep, long breath and just following it all the way through each movement. And you're also absolutely welcome to maybe make circles or move side to side or come up and down. Just kind of see where your body wants you to go today. And lately, I've just been really enjoying cat-and-cow on my elbows. I just find I feel it quite differently in my my upper back. So if you want to try that too, you're welcome to. Just kind of see if it's interesting or useful for you. Let's take another breath or two here. Awesome. Okay, and then when you're ready, we're going to come down to laying on one side. So you can come to your belly and roll to your side if you want, or you can just kind of walk your knees over to one side. That's especially nice if you're pregnant. And lay on your side. So I'm on my right side right now. I'm holding my head in my hand, but you could also rest your head on your arm or on a pillow. And just bring the knees together so that they're just a little bit below the level of the hips, and activate your feet. Okay, little trick with this one, try to keep the hips stacked right up and down. You could even have your top hand on your sacrum just to feel that it's nice and even there. And then on the inhale, we're gonna lift, we're gonna separate the knees, and then lift the foot up. And then as we exhale, the knees come together and then the feet come together. Yeah, so we inhale to lift the knee, keep inhaling, the foot lifts. And then as we exhale, the knees come together, keep exhaling, the feet come together. Okay, so that's the movement. We're just going to take a few of these, nice stately pace with your breath. And these kinds of movements really, the slower you go, the more intense they are. So just keep negotiating sort of breath and movement together. I do want you to feel a little bit of work in that outer hip. That's really helpful for supporting the whole pelvic structure, which includes the lower back. Try for 2 more. And then relax. You can pad out the outer hip with your soft fist if you'd like. Sometimes, especially if the hip is not used to that kind of movement, it might sort of tense up a little bit. And then we're just going to do one more here. So for this one, you lift up that top leg and point the toes. I'm just going to take the top hand for a little bit of support in front of me. We're going to take a nice circle. Again, stately pace. Okay, see what that means for you today. You may or may not be going slower than you normally do. And you don't really have to combine this one with the breath necessarily, but keep breathing deeply. And then reverse the direction of the circle. Amazing. And then relax, bring the knees together. Again, you can pad out the hip gently. And then you can pick up your leg, draw the knee in and hug it towards your sort of armpit shoulder region. And you can stay here, or you could try straightening the whole leg, holding the toes or the outer part of the foot. And you'll just get a nice little stretch along the back of the leg there, a little bit into the inner thighs. Okay, and then soften that. Point the knee down towards the bottom of the mat. You can keep holding the foot and we'll take our lovely quad stretch here. So I'm holding the foot, gathering it in towards the bum. A little bit of a tuck of the tailbone helps here, and flare the foot into the hand. So many of us really need that quad stretch for sure. Okay, and then we'll gently release that. You can give the leg a little shake, and then step your foot in front of your other thigh so that your knee points up to the sky like a shark's fin. If this feels really intense, move the knee and the foot away from your face. You can increase the stretch by bringing them in a little bit closer. Okay, so this is a hip stretch for me. This is kind of an interesting one. People feel it in different ways, but I find I really get into like that spot in my hip with this one. So you can gently press the knee away from your face, and you might even try coming into a little bit of a twist. So that top arm would just gently roll open. This twist is fine if you're pregnant. There's lots of space for your belly. Just make sure that you're feeling safe and comfortable, and we just don't want to overstretch. Just some nice deep breaths into the belly here. Lovely. And then we'll gently release that. Come back to laying on your side, and you can just let the knees fall together and just take a moment to rest there. Maybe a sigh would be nice. And then we'll switch sides. So you could roll over on your back, or you can flip like I'm doing. And again, find that comfortable position where you're laying on your side and your head feels supported. Your arm roughly in line with the rest of your body. Natural curve in the lower back, and the knees are just pointed slightly down of the hips, sacrum straight up and down. And the feet are active. On the inhale, we open the knees and then lift the foot. And on the exhale, we bring the knees together and then the feet together. And then we just move like that. So inhaling and exhaling. This is a really nice one just to kind of get the hip moving in its different directions. Yeah, this is really nice, really therapeutic for, again, the sort of pelvic structure, which includes the sacrum and the lower back, where a lot of us have issues. Just nice and slow. Last two. And one. Beautiful. And then after you've completed that one, just relax, and you can gently pad out the hip if you like. It's nice to just kind of invite a bit of circulation to that area. Okay, and then we'll pick up that top foot, point the toes, and I like usually my top hand just in front of me for a bit of balance. Very mild connection to the core, doesn't have to be anything too intense. And we're circling. And this one again, I'm a fan partly because it moves the hip in many of its directions, and it really allows for a pretty broad strengthening. And you can feel it. It's hard. It's effective. Okay, and reverse directions when you're ready. You don't have to be going the same pace as me. You might be going slower or faster. Just keep breathing nice and deep. Amazing. And then relax. And again, you can gently pad with your soft fist. Just any areas that feel like they kind of went, ooh. Nice to let those go. Okay, and then you can pick up your knee and hug it in towards your chest. Okay, or maybe holding your foot and finding that little bit of a longer stretch. This is really nice for just kind of moving the pelvic bones around a little bit in a gentle way, of course. Okay, and then you can release that when you're ready, and then take your foot behind you, point the knee down towards the bottom of your mat. Squeeze your bum a little bit and slightly tuck your tailbone. You should feel a pretty nice, accessible quad stretch here. And by that, I mean it should be pretty obvious sort of where we're stretching. And it helps if you push the foot and the hand against each other, especially if you have a sensitive knee. You want to keep the foot really active. That helps to just move the stretch out of the knee joint and into the quadricep area here. Beautiful. And then let's gently release that. You can give the leg a little shake if you'd like. And then we'll take this funny shark's fin hip opener. So the foot comes in front of your knee, and you can adjust that. So if you bring it in closer, it's going to be more intense. If you push it away, it's going to be a little bit gentler. And for me, the stretch is kind of along the side and the outer part of the hip. It might be a little bit different for you, but just something to check out. So you can gently press into the inner leg in order to keep the knee roughly pointing up to the sky, but you're not really pushing hard or anything like that. It's more of a stabilizer. And if you'd like to try coming into the twist, for some people that really enhances the stretch. And I'm kind of letting my right hip sort of drop towards the earth. And I feel more of a stretch when I do that personally. Lovely. Okay, and then we'll gently release that. You can roll onto your side again. And then we're going to come onto our backs and we'll do just a little bit of core there. And you might want to have a prop like a block or a cushion or something just close at hand so that we can use it when we need it. Okay, so if you're pregnant, it's generally okay to lay on your back for some period of time as long as it feels okay for you. For me, I found when I was pregnant, especially in movement, it felt fine. It was more if I was laying there still for a long time. But if you do need to get up to a seat or just roll to your side or something like that at any point, feel free to do that. So we'll have the feet on the floor. You can keep your head down or you can interlace your fingers around behind your head and gently lift the shoulder blades up away from the mat. Think of gathering your pelvic floor and your belly button in and up, almost like a scooping kind of action without tucking your tailbone. So keep the back neutral, but find that engagement through the core. Okay, we can start here. As you inhale, straighten out one leg any amount. And as you exhale, drag it back in. I'm still wearing my socks here. And that actually works really well for this particular exercise because I'm sort of sliding the heel along the ground. If you're on carpet and your mat's in your way, you could roll it up and slide on the carpet. And if everything's a little sticky and you're in bare feet, you can lift the foot up a little bit, that's fine. So just thinking of gathering that belly in and up. And I love this one because it's quite safe, but it's really good for integrating the deep core muscles. So this is appropriate for a lot of us, including for pregnancy. Really nice, you guys. Okay. If this is working for you, keep doing it. That's perfect. Okay, if you want to add on a little bit, instead of sliding the heel, you could lift the foot up off the ground on the inhale, and as you exhale, put it down. And then switch. This one would be likely fine for pregnancy as well. I was doing this one into my 3rd trimester. If anything doesn't feel right, pay attention to that first. And this is true for everyone, but especially in pregnancy, you just want to make sure your belly is not popping forward. You want it to feel like it's drawing in and up. That's really the key. Get those deep inner core muscles working. Okay, so let's take one more round of these and then we'll take a little rest. And I'll give you one more option if you want one. Okay, and then let's relax. So you can take the butterfly shape if you'd like, or you can let the knees fall in together and just take a few breaths to relax. And as you inhale, think of really expanding your belly, maybe even expanding your pelvic floor. And as you exhale, just relax. Okay. So one more option, this one, you can see how it feels for you. I probably wouldn't do this one in pregnancy. So feel free to take the other 2 options. Okay, otherwise you can lift up your shoulder blades, lift up your knees and feet and squeeze them together. So it's like you're holding a little toonie or something in between your knees. And as you inhale, the knees are going to move just past your hips. And as you exhale, you're going to draw them in. Inhale, the knees move just past the hips, the shins stay parallel to the ground. Exhale, gathering in, and you could add a little curl at the bottom of the exhale. And the curl is from your tailbone, not your shoulder blades. So it's lower abdominals. And again, wherever you are, you do want to really feel that the belly is drawing in and up. It's not popping forward. Try for 3 more. Last one. And relax again. Soles of the feet can come together, knees open wide, or maybe the opposite, knees can fall together. And take a few breaths to consciously relax your belly and your pelvic floor. Lovely. Okay, really nice work, you guys. So from here, I'd love for you to grab that little prop if you have one, and just like a little pillow or something would work fine. If you don't have anything, don't worry about it. And we can put that underneath the bum or the lower back. And we'll start by extending the legs up to the sky. So the prop is intended to be there to help you to feel a little bit more comfortable with this little bit of elevation. Again, with pregnancy, if it feels good, this is fine. If it doesn't feel good, feel free to just lay on your side for a few breaths. You can meet us back when you feel ready. Okay, let's take the arms up as well and just take a nice little circle for the ankles and the wrists. And then reverse the direction of the circle. Okay, and then come to neutral, and then we'll flex the hands and the feet. So heels of the hands go up to the sky with the heels. And you can kind of activate through that, really press up. And then as you exhale, point the toes and curl the fingers down. Okay, inhale, press up through the heels of the hands and the feet. So you might even feel a little bit of a hamstring stretch there. It's okay if you don't. I do. I'm kind of feeling kind of stiff today. And pressing up. Okay, one more. And then we can circle or maybe shake a little bit. Okay, so you're gonna keep that prop underneath your bum as long as it still feels safe. Feet come gently down to the ground. And I usually like the prop just slightly lower in this part than I do with the legs up to the sky. So feel free to adjust it if you need to. It should be right on that bone of the sacrum. So it feels nice and secure right here, okay? This can be done without a prop. So if you don't have one or if it doesn't feel good, try it just laying on your back. Okay, and then you can draw your left knee in towards your chest and then gently straighten out your right leg. This is probably my favorite core release. So you're hugging the knee a bit wide towards the armpit, pressing forward through that heel and breathing nice and deep down into your right psoas. And as I've mentioned before in this class, the psoas is one of our stress muscles. It's one of the places where we hold stress in the body. And stretching it out can be really nice because it actually helps that stress to leave as well. Okay, and then when you're ready, we'll just gently come out of that. So placing one foot to the floor and then the other one. And then just pause there for a breath or so. And then we'll come to the second side. So drawing in the right knee and extending the left leg out long, pressing forward through the heel. So the leg is really heavy, but it is active. We're not trying to lift it up, but we're trying to press it forward. And for me, the secret of this is really the breath, breathing in a relaxed way down towards the belly. And just kind of allowing everything to just kind of relax back on the exhale. Beautiful. And then when you feel ready, again, you can place one foot and then the other just on the ground. And you might want to take a couple of extra breaths here just to receive this shape with your hips elevated. If it doesn't feel good, of course, just remove the prop. Otherwise, take a couple more breaths right here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, if you haven't yet, you can take that prop out from under you. And some of you will want to hug your knees into your chest. Some of you will want to kind of flop out like Shavasana. Both are fine. Just take a moment. If your knees are hugging into your chest, so for pregnancy, again, just take the knees as wide as you need them to be, and you can add a little rock from side to side. That's true for everyone. Okay, and then we'll place the feet on the floor. And again, this one should be fine for pregnancy, just as long as it feels good for you, okay? So the feet are together on the floor. You can take your arms open into a T or a cactus shape. We're just gonna rock the knees gently from side to side. So the feet stay together. So that means when I go to the right, my left foot comes off the floor. And then I'm gonna come up through center. And I'm just gonna let the knees fall to the second side. So the knees are pretty far away from the belly for this one. And we're just gonna rock side to side. So I'm inhaling through center, exhaling to one side. But if you wanna go a lot slower than that and take a few breaths on a side, that's fine. There's no particular pace you have to take here. And you might let your head rock away from your knees. This is really nice for the pelvis as well. And I find it feels really good in my upper back too. Let's take another breath or two here, just making sure you're even on the two sides. And when you're ready, come through center and just take a moment to relax. So again, that could mean knees apart, could mean knees together, could mean hugging the knees into your chest. And actually a happy baby might feel really good at this point. So if you'd like to draw the knees in, put the soles of the feet up towards the sky and hold the ankles or feet or toes, whatever works for you. And you can do a little rock from side to side there as well. That's the one, yeah. And if happy baby is not accessible, you can just hold your knees, right? It's actually lovely to be just holding the knees here. Okay, and then we're gonna come up to a seat. So you can roll over to one side and then softly press up. And you might wanna take a moment just to extend the legs out and give them a little shake. So if you have a wall that you can sit in front of and lean your head against, I'll invite you to go to a wall or door or whatever. If you don't have a wall, don't worry about it. You don't really need one. It's just nice to do it with the wall. And I'm gonna sit up on a cushion at the same time. And I'm gonna lean back against the wall so that I can get, ideally my bum, my upper back, and my head against the wall. So if you're not using a wall, you're just sitting up nice and tall. I don't care if your legs are crossed or in some other shape, that doesn't really matter so much to me. But we've just got a relatively neutral back and we can kind of feel the the contact of the wall if we're using one. And again, if you don't have a wall, just imagine. Okay, and then you're gonna press your shoulders against the wall and then slide the back of your head up the wall. So your chin tucks in and you're in this little double chin kind of situation. And then you're gonna roll your head to one side. So we're not sliding the head against the wall, we're rolling the head. So the nose starts to point towards, I'm going to my right here. And then just take a couple breaths there. For me, this is quite a lovely neck stretch. And then gently up through center. Relax for a moment. And then reset. So shoulders against the wall. Slide the back of your head up the wall. And then roll your head rather than sliding so that the nose points down towards that opposite shoulder. And make sure that both shoulders are still pressing against the wall. Okay, up through center, and then just relax, receive that for a moment. And then let's do that one more time on each side. So shoulders press back, chin tucks in a little bit, and then roll your nose towards one side. Up through center, relax. Last one, shoulders against the wall, tuck the chin in, and roll to the second side. So this is actually a little bit of, maybe we could call it neck core. So we're kind of getting some of these little muscles to activate so that we can release the bigger ones that tend to hold tension. This should feel like a stretch though, but there is a bit of work in your shoulders pressing back and your chin still tucking in. Awesome. And then come back through center and just relax for a moment. You can roll your shoulders if you want, or just stay in stillness. I'm just kind of leaning my head against the wall. Okay, so we're going to stay seated. I'm going to move away from the wall myself. You don't necessarily have to. I don't think it'll get in the way, but I feel like I have a little more freedom to sit away from the wall. Okay, so we're going to reach our arms up to the sky. And then keep the arms nice and wide as you exhale. I'm going to do that 2 more times. I'm thinking of that old song, hands up, baby, hands up. Kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, just taking that nice open space. One more time like that. Awesome. And then we're going to take the arms up to the sky once again. And this time we're going to take a cactus shape. So on your exhale, go ahead and bend your elbows. And we're going to try a cactus, or sorry, eagle. So you're going to hold opposite shoulders. I'm taking my right arm underneath. Maybe I should, you'd go ahead and take your right arm under as well. I've already said it. Right arm under, so I'm not mirroring you. And then we'll twist tie the arms if possible, or just stay here is perfect. You could try lifting your elbows a little bit. Pull the shoulders down your back, tuck your chin in, and then take your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Up through center, and then over to the left shoulder. It's going to feel a little bit different on the 2 sides. Okay, up through center, and then here's a kind of a nice one sometimes. So you're going to allow your tailbone to lean back a little bit in your seat. This is where the wall might get in your way. Let the elbows and the chin come down and kind of spread the shoulder blades around behind you. And you might even explore a little bit of a rock from side to side. So it's a bit of a massage into that sticky spot between the shoulder blades. This shouldn't hurt, it should feel good. To me, that spot feels almost itchy, like it wants to be scratched. Okay, we'll rise back up through center gently. Release the hands. You can just let them fall to your lap. And then lift the shoulders up, back, and down. Once, maybe twice or 3 times. And just take a moment to feel that. And then let's do that on the second side as you're ready. So we'll take the arms up, baby hands up. And then bend the elbows into a cactus and wrap your left shoulder underneath, or whatever your second side is. Twist tie the arms if you can, or holding shoulders. Elbows lift a bit, hug those shoulders down the back, tuck your chin in, and then bring your left ear over towards your left shoulder. up through center, and over to the second side. Okay, and then gently up through center, we'll take that little hunch again. So we're allowing the tailbone to roll back, we're allowing the upper back to round, the elbows draw down, hands come a little bit forward, and the head drops forward. And then again, there's that little bit of a rock from side to side that you could experiment with. So another way of saying that is you're kind of waving the hands from side to side if you've got that twist tie variation. Another way of thinking about it is that you're kind of rolling that rounded upper back to spread the space between the shoulder blades. This shouldn't hurt anywhere. Okay, and then when you're ready, gently coming back through center, untie your arms, let the hands rest softly on your lap. And then again, we can roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple of times, just getting some of those crunchies out maybe. Good. Okay, and then try and take your hands around behind you. So if you're still at the wall, you might need to move a little bit forward here. And just hook your thumbs, hug those elbows together, and take a nice chest opening. It might feel a little bit different after having done that eagle stuff. And then gently release that. And again, if it feels good, you can roll the shoulders a couple of times. Maybe you'd like to do something like shake your hands out. And then release your legs out in front of you and give them a little shake if you haven't already. We were sitting for a little while there. So it's my big plan to not stand up at all today. It's my big plan. So we're gonna do some hip opening. We're gonna stay seated. Okay, I'm gonna mirror you now to do my best. So of course we're doing both sides. It's not too confusing, I hope. So you're gonna take your right ankle onto your left thigh and then bend into the left leg. The fingertips are behind you and you're just gonna press your heart towards your shin. Keep that right foot flexed. And you can just stay here, this is perfect, or you might want to try a little bit of like a rock from side to side kind of a situation. And again, this is a hip opener, so please feel free to find the one that works for you if this particular one isn't going to be helpful. And the more you press your heart up towards your shin, the deeper that stretch will go. Nice. Okay. From here, we're going to gently straighten out that left leg and then take the right foot and just slide it to the inside so you've got this kind of tree shape going for you. You can stay here, but I'm going to offer that we widen this a little bit. So we let the foot come out to the left and the toe can kind of point in. So as we fold into this one, this is going to be a little bit more of a lower back stretch. So just be gentle, don't yank anything. If it doesn't feel safe, come in a little closer and just think of coming straight down, okay? And you can also adjust, how wide you want to go. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. So we're going to place the fingertips down and just turn the chest to whatever degree towards that extended leg. And then we're going to fold forward. Again, any amount, none of this should hurt, okay? For some of us, it's really beneficial to have a gentle stretch in the lower back, but we just want to be aware if there are any herniated discs or anything that might be pulled out of place. So you can keep your back really nice and neutral if you have any of that going on. You might fold down a little bit, but wherever you are, it's gentle, right? We're not doing anything super intense here. And I'm just letting my head relax. But my left foot is staying nice and flexed. I could even have a bend in the left knee as much as needed. Beautiful. And then we'll gently roll back up. Hug the shoulders onto the back, and then you can simply turn towards your bent knee. Okay, so it's just a mild little counter twist there. And some of you might want to come into a little ballet pose. So the right hand could come down behind you. You would spin the left foot to the earth and then use this bottom shin to lift up your bum and just take a little bit of a sort of side stretch back bend kind of thing. It's a nice little counter pose just to sort of close that stretch. Okay, and then we can sit back down, release both legs forward, give them a little shake. And then we're going to take the left ankle on top of the right thigh. So we'll do the cobbler position first. You might stay here. This is perfect. You could bend your right knee any amount. Fingertips are behind you. And the more you press your heart towards your shin and kind of roll forward on your sit bones, the more of a stretch you'll feel, which isn't necessarily what you want. You want to be in that place where you feel like it's the right stretch for you. Okay, it doesn't have to be the maximum. And that little rock from side to side can be really lovely because it just kind of hits different parts of the hip. And usually for me, my two hips are just quite different. They often need different things. So I feel these stretches differently on the two sides, which is very common. So just seeing what works for you here and keeping that left foot nice and flexed. Awesome. And then we'll gently release the leg forward and slide that left foot to the inside. So you can take, again, this sort of tree position and fold straight forward. You'll still get a little bit of a lower back stretch. You can take it as far as you need it and hamstring stretch. But if you want to go a little bit wider, it's going to be a little bit more onto the side, which is beneficial for some of us. So you're going to take your fingertips down and just turn towards that straight leg, whatever degree it's open. Lift your heart and then fold forward. And again, see what works for you here. So you might be keeping your back really nice and neutral and it's just a hamstring stretch for you. Maybe you're allowing yourself to fold down a little bit and you may start to feel that lower back. So just be gentle wherever you are. Should feel good. That's the name of this class. And of course, feeling good is an interesting concept for a practice like yoga, because sometimes it's sort of like, it's comfortable discomfort is a way of thinking about it, right? Feeling that you're in the spot you need to be. Beautiful. Okay, and then when you feel ready, come on up. Let's gently bring the legs in. You can release them, give them a little shake. Okay, and then let's take a little restorative pose just to rest and settle a little bit here. So if you have anything more active that you want to do before we start making our way down into Shavasana, you might want to do it now so that you can slide right from this pose into Shavasana. So if you have a bolster, please grab it. If you don't, you can do this with a block, a cushion, a rolled up towel. You can do it really with anything, but the bolster is the best. Okay. If you have a bolster and two blocks, you can elevate the top edge of the bolster. A sort of foolproof way to do that is to stack the two blocks and just put them underneath the top edge of the bolster. Okay, and if you have, two cushions or something like that, you could put them in a T shape so that there's that little bit of elevation at the top edge. This is really nice for pregnancy. My favorite Shavasana in pregnancy, actually. So you're sitting right in front of that bolster. You might want soles of the feet together, knees open wide. Maybe there's a bit of support underneath the knees. You don't have to take that shape with your legs. Whatever's comfortable for you is fine. I've just got two blocks underneath my knees here. Some people like to also sit on a little block. I don't, but if that enhances this for you, that's perfect. and you're gonna lay back. So this is a pose, a restorative pose I like to call the beach chair because it's kind of that feeling of like soaking up the sun. Should feel really comfortable in your neck. You could enhance it by rolling a blanket underneath the back of your neck. Okay. If you have a smaller prop like a block or a cushion or something like that, you would just place it underneath your upper back and kind of lay flat on the mat. You don't necessarily have to be doing this variation with the elevation. Okay. And then find a comfortable place for your hands. So some of us, that'll be hands on the hips. For most of us, it'll be palms open at about 45 degrees, could be open wider. Just see what works for you. And you may want to take a moment to kind of snug those shoulder blades onto your back. And a little secret way of doing that is to put your fingertips on your shoulders, bring your elbows in, and then scoop them up and kind of snuggle those shoulders under, and then release your arms. You might feel the shoulders moving down a little bit more. And there's nothing to do here but breathe and receive. Okay, so just allow your breath to really move as deeply into your body as it would like. So notice if you're kind of resisting your breath anywhere in your body, and see if you can soften that so the breath can come in. Common culprits for that are the jaw, the eyebrows, some area of the belly, and the pelvic floor, which is that area around the genitals. Just imagining you're allowing everything to move a bit with each breath without doing anything in particular, just allowing. Almost like you were floating in really gentle waves. So from here, we'll transition into Shavasana. So you might not be going anywhere. This is, as I mentioned, it's sort of perfect as a Shavasana if it feels really comfortable and relaxing. You could adjust it, for example, by straightening your legs if they're in that butterfly position, but maybe you want to keep the bolster where it is. Or you may want to change your position altogether to come into your Shavasana, and that's great as well. You've got time, so no rush, just continuing to seek for that most comfortable place for you right now and receiving the experience of just breathing and softening. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling in your body right now. And if you're feeling like you want to stay and you have the time to do that, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can take a deeper breath. Bring some small movements into your toes and fingers. Maybe rock your head. Maybe take a stretch, reaching your arms up. And especially if you're still in that restorative shape, you may want to bend the knees and just take a little windshield wiper from side to side a couple of times just to release the hips if they're holding on to anything. And then you can softly roll over to one side. And then press yourself up to a seat and place your hands somewhere that feels right. So that might be together at your heart, might be over top. Might be somewhere else. And gently bow your mind to your hands, honoring and acknowledging whatever it took for you to get here to your practice today. Honoring and acknowledging the long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us in our yoga. Honoring and acknowledging the sacredness of the land that we practice on. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today.